So if you wouldn't do it to a child, don't do it to your calf. Put them first, make sure they've got everything they need. Take no chances where you can intervene and do something better for them.
Hello, welcome to this new video. I'm here in South Somerset in the UK, and I'm together with Ollie, and we'll talk about your calf rearing.
Yep.
Ollie, thank you for having me here.
You're welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Say a few words about yourself and your farm. What are we?
Yeah, so welcome to Dillington Estate, Dillington Farms. We're here at Laue Dairy, which is our dairy production unit. We're farming around 800 hectares, 350 cows in the herd on six robots. Finishing every calf that gets born, so we've got a beef unit alongside our sort of heifer rearing.
Yeah.
And really, I'd say we're a sort of modern, mixed, diversified business. Dairy's a central part of what we're doing, but we've got arable around the side of it and a lot of environmental projects as well.
Today is about your calf facility. We are here in your calf barn, and you're feeding calf with an automatic calf feeder with a CalfExpert. You have 4 groups. Please explain a little bit, what are your routines in your calf barn?
Okay, so I'd say with everything, our calf unit is like much of what we do. It's always a work in progress. We're always trying to continually find ways to improve it, and that all starts back with calf health and ultimately the quality of animal that we can bring into the milking herd over the next couple of years and for generations to come. So really every day we try and follow the same basics. Cleanliness, collect calves, collect cows. Good hygiene along with that cleanliness, and keeping on top of health issues.
Yeah.
So every day starts the same. We come in, we work through the lists on the computer. Look for calves that have got reduced drinking speeds. Look for calves with reduced intakes or that are late to the feeders. Then we'll go and find them as a matter of priority, provide an appropriate treatment, and rehydrate if we need to, but try and get them back on. We use quite a lot of pain relief. We find pain relief is a really good way of keeping calves motivated and drinking.
Okay.
If we can head off an instance of scours with some pain relief, then we'll opt for that as a first routine. And really trying to get these calves into the feeders regularly and maximize their intakes.
Earlier we have spoken, and you said you're feeding them colostrum, and right after colostrum you're entering the calves here on the calf feeder. So what is the colostrum protocol, and what is your experience having calves on the feeder that early?
So start with colostrum. So we're aiming for 4.5 litres of colostrum, aiming for 25 bricks. So if we don't naturally produce that level of bricks, we'll enrich that colostrum. So dairy heifers
with some colostrum powder.
Correct, yeah. And we'll enrich that colostrum and get that feed into them as soon as we can after birth. The really big thing for us is that with the development of our beef unit, every calf that's born here stays here. So every calf we want to treat the same. So it doesn't matter whether you're born as an Aberdeen Angus or a Holstein heifer. Everybody gets the same volume of colostrum, same enrichment or total bricks level, and doing it. So once they've had that, we leave them for a small amount of times with their mum, and hopefully we'll see them suckle there as well. And then our aim is to get them up into the calf unit and straight into group housing. It's a change that we made probably 7-8 years ago now. We used to rear all our calves in hutches for 21 to 30 days and then bring them into group housing onto automated feeding. We looked at it and we just saw that the hutches provided an opportunity for stress. So we would get them so far through, then we change their environment and bring them into a group feeding situation. Then they were no longer fed in a bucket and you were trying to get them onto automation. So there was all these stress points. We were finding more problems with calf health. So now we just opt for bringing them straight up here and get them straight into group housing and straight onto the feeders, so that they can get away and thrive in this environment.
Basically on day one.
Day one.
Yeah, right.
As fast as we can.
So how long does it take these young calves to learn to use the feeding stations?
Maximum of 2 days.
Yeah.
And by say using the feeding station, I'd say within 2 days they're taking themselves to the feeder with very little intervention from us. But it's like everything. You need to nurture that calf into that system and into that routine. It has to have confidence. It's got to have a good experience when it goes in there. It's got to know that that's where it's going to get its nutrition. So we put a lot of effort into making sure that we calmly take them there in that sort of first 24, 48 hours, so they're comfortable.
In your pen, you have the straw bales.
Yeah.
And obviously, you're creating some kind of nesting areas for your calves.
Yes.
So what's
So again, this is part of the sort of progression, and we like talking to other farmers, and we went to another farm locally, and we were sort of wondering about how we could keep the level of bedding in those calf units, in those calf pens, much higher than we were. We don't really want to bring straw choppers in because that's inviting dust and things into the environment. I want it to be as easy on a day-to-day basis for my team as it can be. So we saw a really good idea at another local farm where they were preloading bales into those calf pens so that the bales could then just be dispensed within it on a daily basis. We did that for a while. It worked really well. And then we started to think about how we could manipulate the shape of those bales so that we still had the bale ability in there, but we could get the calves to be in and nesting. So when they're very young, they've got some bits to snuggle into and be there with their friends. And as they get slightly older, they can use it as an enrichment element, and they can climb up them and jump off them. And yeah, it's worked really well. It's a little bit awkward getting them in. The team worked really hard to try and manipulate them and push them around. It's but it has been a really good thing, and the calves seem to enjoy it. So
yeah, I really like that. I mean, you're offering your calf extra protection a little bit, and that's I think that's a very good idea, and yeah, easy to spread out new straw as well.
Hopefully. I mean, we're of the belief wherever we can, the easier we make something, the more likely it is to happen regularly. I think if you don't provide the tools for people to do the job, it becomes harder, and then ultimately it'll happen for a short period of time, but it won't happen consistently. And with calves, like dairy, like arable, like everything in life, the more consistent we can make something, hopefully the outcomes are consistent or improving.
Coming back to your feeding program, what do you feed calves, and how much milk do you feed? When do you wean them? What's your feeding?
So I suppose, we're a little bit tight on space, so we're on a sort of 0 to 58 day milk program. Wish we could have them in here a little bit longer. We've got some plans to hopefully expand the calf unit and give us a bit more space that will allow us to prolong that period. So we start them on day 1 at 5 litres, or day 0 rather, at 5 litres, and then we'll take them all the way up to 13.5 litres, I think by about day 20, 25, and then we'll let them plateau at that point. We'll let them plateau there and then gradually bring them off and do it. They're on milk powder, and the other thing that we do is that we have chopped straw and concentrate available from day 0 as well.
Right. Okay.
So we appreciate the calves are not looking for that at that time, but if the troughs are there, they're inquisitive, aren't they? They're going to go and look, they're going to search, they're going to nibble on it, and then as that milk starts to come down, hopefully they're used to that concentrate being there and that straw being there, and we keep it doing. And much like the milk feeders, we try and keep little and often in terms of replenishing food. Keep the trough clean, keep the food fresh, so that they're interested and they've got that desire to get in there and eat.
Feeding really a lot of milk. Will most of the calves really drink these high amounts?
It's astonishing. We've played with it. Over the years we've been as low as sort of 8 litres maximum, so that we could see if we could get more concentrate into them. But at the moment we're looking at calves that in that sort of 58 day period are surpassing 500 litres of milk. We've probably, in all honesty, got a range from 390, maybe 410 up to 520, and that'll just depend on the individual calf and its vigor and its ability to get going. And then obviously you have to take into account sort of health events and other things that that may hamper that maximum intake. But certainly through the data we've collected and the sort of interrogation of the system that we've done, calves that are drinking more definitely do better throughout their lives. So we've gone away from that 8 litres, and we really want to push it and see where we can get to. If money was no object, I'd like to go more. The economics take base at some point, and but what'd be really good through the data collection, we can hopefully over a period of time prove that investment into them in their early lives pays dividends later in life through milk production.
No, that's very good. And yeah, I can really promise you this will happen. So we see this from all over the world. The more milk you feed to the calves, the better they do later in their productive life. That's for sure. I mean, I'm not really sure if anything more than 13 liters would give really the same amount of extra benefit. So I think with 13 you're already quite good. So that's
good to hear, because we did it by trial and error. So you know, but it's good to hear from people that's probably the right direction to travel.
Basically, not only talking about the liter consumption you give to these calves, we always need to talk about the dry matter. How much dry matter, how much energy do they get in? And if you feed them 1.5 kilo of dry matter in milk powder, which is probably what you do.
I was going to say, great question. I can't remember the answer off the top of my head. I can't remember the dose rate off the top of my head, but I think it's 135 grams of powder we're feeding. And then basically, you know, in terms of concentrate, it's as close to ad lib as we can give without wastage. Right. So, but yeah, I can't remember the dry matter intake off the top of my head, if I'm perfectly honest.
But it will be at least 1.5 kilo from milk plus concentrate, and that is, I think, quite good level. I know you a lot into calf data. We can see on every pen you have information on your individual calf, treatments, history. You have a working plan, a weekly working plan. So what important stuff does data have for you?
It's everything, isn't it? The more we can measure and the more we can use the data that we collect, the better the outcome should be. And sometimes actually you make a change, and through the data that you collect, you realize that the change you made wasn't the appropriate one, or you've gone too far, or you haven't got enough. And I think it's really good to reflect on it. As a team, as a farm, we like to be honest about the things we've got right and the things that we haven't got right. And it's a little bit with the whiteboards in the background. It's all about that visual element of people coming in, somebody taking over. Nobody's here 7 days a week. We simply can't be. So I wanted a way and a system to rear calves where the data's available at your fingertips, but you've got those visual checks as well. So we set these pens up, and we know what day we've opened them. We write it on the board. We know what day we're planning to close it, and we write it on the board. We know when we're planning to empty it. We keep a record of any treatments on the board. We want that visualization so that, you know, today you could walk in, if I wasn't here, you'd be able to get an overview of what that calf pen's done.
Right, okay.
And then by the time we couple that up with the data from the feeders, then you've just got this wealth of information that you can kind of work your way through. And the difference between maybe pen 1 and pen 2, where we're seeing slightly lower growth rates, we can kind of look at it and say, well, you know, we had more instances of scours, or we had a higher rate of pneumonia in there. What can we do to adapt it? That allows us to work with our consultants and our vets especially, and try and change the outcome and make subtle changes to doing it.
So what kind of information you're actually using from the feeder? What are the key figures you would look at?
Well, I think across the team it's different for everybody, and this is what we've learned over the years through doing the robotics with the cows. You have so much information, and you've got, you know, we've got Kieran here who's doing the calf management. We've got the people who relief Kira. I've got myself looking in the background. Everybody looks at slightly different things. I think one of the biggest things we found once we put the Holm and Laue feeders in, the graphs and the drinking speeds, we were finding that at day 4, calves would naturally and nearly by routine would drop off in their drinking speed. And that was a really interesting thing to find, because at day 7, day 8, we were starting to see the first instances of scour. So what we did at that point was try to intervene with some pain relief and try and keep that calf feeling better. But it was amazing. But had we not had that data, we would never have seen this regular drop off at day 4. But everyone's looking at different things. I look at it. We've recently put the weighers in there, so we're looking at the daily live weight gains. We're looking at the drinking speeds. We're looking at refusals. We're looking at and the information and the platform that we look at that on is very visual. You've got good colouring, and it's easy for everybody to understand.
talk about the weight scales. You have been
Yeah.
recording calf weights earlier as well.
Yep.
And now you rely on the scales and the feeder.
Yeah. So we've always done a lot of weighing. It's something we've put a lot of effort into. So we would have always weighed at birth, we weigh at dehorning, we weigh at weaning, we weigh post-weaning, we weigh pre-presentation, then we'll weigh monthly around bulling. I think on average, we worked out the other day, animals on this farm are weighed every 28 days. So really it was the next logical step. In a calf unit weighing calves, it's quite labor intensive. You've got a little crate, you've got to catch every calf individually. In the robotic system for the cows, we've got the weigh plates, so every day you're getting that updated data, and it was really a conversation about how we could mimic that in here and just have that data. So when we're weaning, when we're administering medicines, when we're doing all these different things that you have to do on a day-to-day routine, we can look at our phone, look at the app, and we have that information straight to hand. So there's no guesswork, there's no sitting trying to work something out. That data's live and it's good.
Well,
so, and it saves a lot of calf handling, which is great for the team and great for the calf.
Great for the calves as well, exactly. We're always looking at the labor, but I mean, whatever we do with the animals is stress for them as well.
And we want as many good outcomes for the calves as possible, so the least interactions that we can have where we're having to handle them, manipulate them and move them to do something. You know, they're all stress elements. They're always an opportunity to reduce the intake for the day, or you know, if they're already a bit stressed or on the verge of being slightly ill, you know, that could be the bit that tips them over the edge.
Yeah, I think data is really the future. Like you said, you need the information to manage your farm and your operation. So I think this is quite good. Just at the end, if you would put up a sign over your calf barn with your calf rearing motto, what would you write on there?
I've got one that I'm not sure I should say on camera, but maybe we can. But it basically comes down to, if you wouldn't do it to your child, why would you do it to a calf? And our other one we use is feed shit and shit grows. So we want to get food into these animals to get the very best out of them. But I think, you know, a good motto for all things that we were doing is, if you wouldn't do it to a child, don't do it to your calf. Put them first, make sure they've got everything they need. Take no chances where you can intervene and do something better for them.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ollie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ollie, and thank you very much for watching our video. If you would like to see more of this content, just stay here on our channel to find more videos. Thank you. Bye-bye.